You know I love you truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
Wagwan farm. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing a quick breakdown on how I mastered this track, Happy. Yeah, an amazing track. Is an Afro EDM track actually. So I'm going to disable the plugin and let's hear how it sounds without the plugins disabled.
You know I love you truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
Yeah, so quick one. The first plugin on our chain is the API compressor. Yeah, I wanted something that can bring energy to the track overall, but still, control and gives it that glue, So this is how it sounds enabled.
Your smile makes me happy. You truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
Yeah, as you can see, not much of reduction on the about -3 to 2 dB. Yeah, and I'm going for a ratio of 2 to 1, so it can retain the kick and the snares, transient and still keeps it alive. Yeah. And so the next plugin rather on the chain is the Pewtech. Yeah, this Pewtech is an amazing plugin. It kind of brings this it has this saturation but still, clean and it's still there. And you'd notice I'm actually boosting the 30 hertz and I'm doing a little bit of cut on there also. I noticed usually I'm always going for the 60 hertz, but on this track I kind of noticed it was fighting with the kick and all of that. Yeah, so we had a lot of, it's an Afro EDM track, obviously, lots of low end elements on there. So, to keep it alive, the 30 hertz just made sense, gives it this cleanness. Why, still controlling the 50 hertz to 60 hertz, still giving it a clean, clean boost. Yeah, and I did some cutting there also. This is how it sounds.
Unruly. Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy. You truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear that on the 16 kilohertz. I'm actually boosting it about 3 dB and attenuating it. That's about 1.5. Yeah. So next plugin on the chain is my EQ. I had to do a little bit of sculpting there, and nothing really too much. This is a master track. Every little every little details you do, yeah, up nepa. But I'm not going to stop this, man. So every little details you do, actually matters. And also, I mastered this on my Overmo AirPod. It's amazing. Of course, I did my playback on different play systems. Yeah, you notice I'm actually cutting around the 156. At that range, you have low end built up, and yeah, on the 200 also, and on the 600 a little bit of deep right there. From the 600 to the 800 you have a little you have that backing sound right there. So I just did a little bit of dynamic EQing on that also, not too much, about -1 dB of gain reduction on there. Yeah. Then the next plugin is our imager. I use the Ozone imager on this track. Yeah, it's an amazing plugin, Ozone. You can never go wrong with Ozone actually. This is how it sounds.
You know I love you truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
I mean, you can tell what's happening already just by listening to it. So on the range, my band is on the 138. Most times I leave it on the 130, but just like I said, it's an Afro EDM track. A lot of low end elements, the bass, the keys, and log drums and all of that. So I did a narrow cut of minus 30 dB, to keep the mono in check. And yeah, and on the eyes, yeah, you can see I boosted that about 23.6, for brightness and space. Yeah. So next plugin is my J37. Yeah, J37. This is an amazing plugin. It's a tape emulation plugin, nice saturation plugin actually. And on this, I'm going for the 888 mode. It has this cleanness. It depends on what you're going for in your track. But for this, the 888 mode just gives it that cleanness and that glue. Yeah, I wanted for the track. And on the saturation, I increased it about 2. Yeah, and my speed 7.5. So this is how it sounds with the J37 enabled.
You truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
I mean, you can see how it's like it rounds up the high ends, the percussions, the snares, those elements with the high ends. It just gives it this round off and makes it clean and sound, nice. And my last plugin is the Pro L2, my limiter. Yeah, before we enable the limiter, let's bring in the Ulin meter just to know the level we're at. It's an EDM track and we need it to be loud, bangs on speaker, especially in clubs and that. So yeah.
I love you truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy.
Yeah, nice. You can see it's at about 16 to 15. Your regular Spotify LUFS requires minus 14, but this is an EDM track, and I actually want it to be loud and bang. I actually aimed at about minus 8 to 10 LUFS. Yeah, and so yeah, I added my Pro L2 limiter, and my true peak is on. You know, I left that at minus 0.8. Usually it's about minus 1 most of the time, but for this track, yeah, my oversampling at 4. And yeah, my attack. I see lots of engineers, they leave their attack at 10, 30. I mean, they have their reasons for doing that, but sometimes you want to control your transient, you know, and leaving it as fast as possible so it clamps down the peak so it won't result to clipping and all of that. I feel a fast attack can actually gives you that nice clean transient. If you are into the transient management, you understand more of what I'm talking about. And yeah, so this is how it sounds enabled.
I love you truly. Why you acting unruly? Is it that you don't believe? Your smile makes me happy. You know I love you.
Yeah, guys, catch you later next time. Peace out.